One sunny morning, the forest was awake with the sound of birds singing and leaves rustling in the breeze. The trees were tall and green. The flowers bloomed in bright colors, and all the animals were busy playing and working. But suddenly, the clouds began to gather in the sky, turning from fluffy white to dark and gray. "Looks like it's going to rain," said Mrs. Bear, who was sitting outside her cozy little cave. She looked up at the sky and smiled softly. She had 2 baby cubs named Timmy and Tina. They were always excited when it rained because they loved to splash in puddles, but Mrs. Bear knew they needed to be safe and warm during the storm. As the first raindrops began to fall, the animals all started moving quickly to find their homes and stay dry. Some animals had homes deep in the forest, while others lived near the sparkling river or on the soft hillsides. All the animals knew exactly where to go when the rain started. Mrs. Bear picked up her little cubs, one under each arm, and waddled inside her cave. She tucked her cubs into a soft bed made of leaves and moss. The cave smelled of fresh pine, and the cubs snuggled up close, their little noses twitching as they drifted off to sleep. Not far from the cave, Mrs. Rabbit lived in a warm burrow underground. She was a tiny, soft rabbit with big floppy ears and a white fluffy tail. Her baby bunnies were always full of energy. They hopped around the burrow and loved to play with their mom. When the rain began to fall, Mrs. Rabbit led her little bunnies into the burrow. The rain pitter-pattered on the ground above, but inside the burrow it was nice and dry. The bunnies snuggled up, yawning as they rested their heads. Mrs. Rabbit hummed a gentle tune as she kissed each bunny goodnight. "We'll be safe and warm here," she whispered. Not too far from Mrs. Rabbit's home, Mr. Owl lived in a tall oak tree. Mr. Owl had big round eyes, and his feathers were soft and brown. His wings were so wide that he could fly above the trees like a gentle breeze. When the rain began to fall, Mr. Owl fluttered down from his tree and perched on a low branch where his baby owl, Oliver, was waiting. Oliver had big eyes, just like his dad, but he was smaller and still learning to fly. Oliver, he loved to watch the raindrops splashing below. "Come, Oliver," Mr. Owl said. "Let's go to our secret spot where the rain can't reach us." They flew to their home in the tree, and they were very comfy. Mr. Owl and Oliver were snuggling, listening to the sound of the rain like a soft lullaby. As the rain continued to fall, other animals were also finding their special spots. Far down by the river, Mrs. Deer and her little fawn, Daisy, took shelter under a large willow tree. The tree's long branches hung low, and the leaves shielded them from the rain. Mrs. Deer had soft brown fur with white spots, and her big eyes looked kindly at her baby. Daisy was still a little wobbly on her feet, but she was brave, holding her mother's side for comfort. "Let's rest here, little one," said Mrs. Deer. "The rain will soon stop, but for now, we can stay dry under the tree." Daisy leaned against her mom, feeling safe and warm. She closed her eyes, and soon the soft sound of raindrops on the leaves helped her drift off to sleep. Not far from the river, a small family of squirrels lived high in the branches of a great oak tree. Mr. and Mrs. Squirrel had 2 tiny baby squirrels named Nutty and Nibble. Nutty loved to jump from branch to branch, while Nibble liked to stay close to her mom, nibbling on acorns. Their fur was the color of cinnamon. When the rain began to pour, the squirrels scampered up to their home, which was built in the highest tree. "Let's sleep while the rain sings to us," Mrs. Squirrel said, as the sound of the rain on the leaves echoed around them. Over in the meadow where the wildflowers grew, Mrs. Fox and her 2 cubs, Fiona and Finn, were playing near their den. Mrs. Fox had a shiny red coat, and her tail was long and fluffy. Fiona and Finn were little balls of orange fur, with sharp, curious eyes. When the rain started to fall, Mrs. Fox led her kits into their cozy den. Inside it was warm and dry, with soft, smooth stones to rest on. "Sleep tight, my little foxes," she whispered, as they snuggled close, listening to the raindrops tapping gently above. In the farthest corner of the forest, a family of frogs lived near a big pond. Grandpa Frog, who was green and wrinkled, and his baby frogs, Frodo and Farah, loved to splash in the water when it rained. But today, when the rain started, Grandpa Frog called his little frogs over to the big lily pad where he lived. The rain splashed on the pond, creating ripples and tiny waves. Frodo and Farah climbed onto the lily pad, and Grandpa Frog smiled at them. "Let's rest here, my little ones," he said. "The rain will pass soon, and then we can hop in the puddles again." Frogs, bunnies, bears, and foxes, all of them knew exactly where to go when the rain came. They each had their special places where they felt safe, warm, and dry. And even though the storm was outside, inside their homes, the animals and their babies were cozy and peaceful, waiting for the sun to return. As the rain poured down, the forest became quiet. The animals were all tucked away, snuggled in their dens, nests, and burrows, listening to the soft rhythm of the raindrops. It was the perfect time for a nap. The animals knew that the rain would soon stop, and when it did, they would come out of their homes, ready to play again. But for now, they were happy to be warm and safe with their families. And as the storm rumbled gently in the distance, the animals fell asleep, dreaming of sunny days and puddles to splash in when they woke up.